Okay, on with the build. So, I want to fix the DJI Air unit. And also this LED strip. Now, it looks like they've provided these two little antennae for the air unit. I'm sure the range is not nearly as good, but it means that they'll fit nicely in the back here, I think. I can't see, I mean, I suppose maybe that'll fit. Yeah, I mean, that would fit, but I'm not quite sure how that would go around. Anyway, but before I do that, I want to fit this little LED strip around the front. And it's got a little 3-pin plug, and what I've noticed is that buried in here is a 3-pin plug. Now, I don't know whether I can pop that out without disassembling it. Might be tricky. Right, there we go. So that is the guy. So this looks to me like it's supposed to go out the side here, which I suspect means that it could go like that. That won't quite stretch, unfortunately. So, yeah, I don't think that'll. It might do. Who knows? Guess we can just check that it works somehow. I think I might have to take this apart to get it in, unfortunately. Which means taking these top ones off, which is a bit of a pain. Interesting. Okay. It's come completely off, unfortunately. There we go. Okay. Huh. Don't know what that's for. That must be ELRS. Okay, so here's the LED one, which I just need out there. That's a beautiful little build. And that goes to the side there. Of course, now I've got to get it back together again. Easier said than done. That's the ELRS one. Alright, so I got my LED strip out. The ELRS thing is kind of, I think, supposed to be buried. Oops. So we'll bury that again. Screw these back in. So I'll press pause while I screw these in. Alright, back together. Let's see whether that LED strip works. Something worked. I guess the question now is, I don't know how many LEDs it is. Right, back again. So that was a little bit tricky to figure out. So it turns out that so I thought this LED was a NeoPixel and it should be controlled by the NeoPixel pin, but actually that's not true. So the NeoPixel output controls the onboard pixels which are actually on the flight controller. So if you look, you can see that them flashing away on the flight controller. You probably just see it in the video there. But it turns out that in the Betaflight configuration, UART6 TX, that pin also has a general purpose GPIO definition. And so you can reconfigure UART6 as a GPIO definition and effectively use it as a relay. And what led me to this was actually sort of digging underneath, having a look at what the cable was soldered to and seeing that it was UART6 TX. So now, unfortunately, didn't have that GPIO definition in hardware def, so I've had to add that. And because UART6 is a UART, I want it to be available as well. I've created an alternative, an alt config. So if we go to board alt config, so board alt config, so hardware definitions can have different alt configs, and this changes the meaning of certain, in a semi-dynamic way, changes the meaning of certain outputs and inputs. The most common thing to do is change between interrupt driven RC and UART driven RC. You can do that with an alt config. So in this case, I've created an alt config one that sets this GPIO pin, and it is on relay 2. So these definitions are already here, and I just need to make sure that the default one for relay 2 is on, which it should be by default, so I don't know quite why that's not working, but it looks like a bug or something. Right, so I've got that board alt config set to 1, relay 2 default set to 1, reboot the flight controller. And ta-da! Bright LEDs. So I'm now going to just glue that on. So let's just wait for it to get the parameters. Now, of course, because it's a relay, you could put this on a radio switch if you wanted to be able to turn this off and on remotely, which seems quite cool. So let's disconnect from there, switch cameras. Right, nice and bright, turn this off. Apparently I had a choice of what colour this was going to be, but anyway, I forgot about that. So here's my cable. Now, interestingly, this won't reach to the back, which would be the obvious place to put the join, but that won't quite work. It's not long enough, I don't think. So I think I'm going to put this around the side so that I get a nice kind of effect at the front. So I basically want it from there round. Just kind of sneaking under there, I guess. So I'll go all the way around. So let's peel this off a little bit. I think that's in the right place. Okay, that's, so I'm gonna, this is the top, so I think what I'm gonna do is just poke that through there. So that pause so you don't have to see me doing this. Alright, plugged in, and then I can detach this glue strip, hopefully. Stick that on there. It's not sticky. Huh. Oh, I've detached the wrong thing, I think I must have done. It's going to be one of these really annoying things that are really hard to get the backing off. So, trusty pin. I think that's it. That's better. Put that on there. It does stick down now. Past the CRSF antenna. Cool. Very nice, and they give me a little bit spare at the end here. I assume I can just chop that off. Probably says cut here somewhere. I'll just have a look at this with my goggles. Yeah, okay. So there's a little bit there. I should just be able to chop with scissors. There we go. Done. Very nice. Hopefully now, if I plug that in. There we go. Nice blue whoop. Alright, so next thing is to pop that back on, to take that out, to get the see where the connection was. Alright, very good. So now I've got to connect HD camera. So this is the back where the power is. The camera goes at the front. And then I've got these long, I think it's those ones. I seem to have two sets of things here. I think those are extra standoffs. I think it's these ones that go through from underneath. Probably not. They seem a bit long, those. Maybe those ones. So I've got to mount this in here. It goes like that. Take that label off, but yes, that goes in there, somewhere there. And then also this guy, which I quite like to mount. I quite like to use this one off the back here. So it goes upside down. I have to have a look. Not sure which way is up. But just not sure whether I can get that poked in. So I will just pause and have a play around. Okay, I think I've got this sorted. So it's a little bit strange. So I've taken the stickers off the DJI unit. I'm going to pop the DJI logo uppermost, and that just clips in there like that. And then I think I can use this antenna, so if I just slide the two antenna wires through there, I can slip this down, and that should just sort of just push itself out the way at the back. I think that will work. And then the camera, I have to take these screws off. I can find the right size. So the camera then just, again, DJI logo the right way up, and I'm going to pop the two holes I think on this bottom one. So there's sort of the middle hole here. I could put one in there. Which looks good. And then there's this sliding one which I can do there, do the same the other side. I won't do it now, but yeah. And then the cable should just flip up sort of into the space underneath, which is nice. Somehow. I'll do that in a second. So now the other interesting thing is that I was trying to figure out how this mounts. So the missing piece of information is you do need to use these long screws. They're just threaded at the end. But the key point is that you're going to use these gummies. So there's this sort of standoff here. I can just sort of poke those in with a hex key. There's these go in these slightly outsized holes. says hopefully. Not sure I've got that one. Okay. There, you can see that. Okay. So you can just about see that on the end there. So I'm going to do 4 of those. But the key thing about that is it keeps this up, as well as providing some vibration insulation. It also means there's airflow around this DJI unit, which does get very hot. So, I'm going to put those 4 in, and then the final piece is this connector. So I'm going to unplug this one, which is the one that it comes with, and then this guy I'll plug in the back here. But I won't bore you with putting these in because it's a little bit fiddly. So let me sort that out. All right. So I've put those gummies all in. I've rearranged the camera a little bit. The screws are in there. I've plugged in the MSP DisplayPort setting, and I've just popped those screws up. So it's these ones. It's only threaded at the end. Pop those up, and I can just pop that on there. Screw this in. Hopefully somewhere. I've not got that. That's good. That's good. There. Nice. I won't take the cover off the camera for now, but you get this nice little cat effect, and that fits quite nicely actually, the antenna. So looks good to go to me. Just need to charge a battery and start to tune. See how that is. So this DisplayPort, the protocol for this, which is UART4, I want to say, is set by default. At least it is in my PR, so it shouldn't need configuring. Should just work automatically. And like I said, GPS I will leave for another day, but you can see that GPS might sit quite nicely on here, really quite nicely. No compass, but a GPS certainly would. I certainly think I could get that in there somehow. I think that would be quite a cool place for a GPS. So you need to leave some space for the cable, but certainly can get a GPS on there relatively easily. I'll build a little mount for it, I think. See how my 3D printing skills are, but I don't need that to tune it. I did discover as well, so you'll notice the ELRS is just flashing away when the little green light that flashes away, that's the ELRS going into bootloader mode. So if you look at the docks, you can actually peel off a couple of the resistors, 3 of the resistors in fact. One is to unpower ELRS, so you don't get the annoying flashing, and the other 2 actually free up the ELRS UART. So UART 3, which is what ELRS is on, you can pull off these resistors, and then that gives you 2 pads to use for an extra UART. So there's actually 2 extra UARTs on here that could be used. I think because I'm using 1. Yeah, so 6 is spare currently. I'm not using 6. Well, I am using 6 for the LED power. So I might have to. I don't know why it has to be 6. But I will. I'll at some point I'll figure out which one I'm going to use, sort of off grid as it were. But that looks good. Pretty cool. Pretty pleased with that. So time to charge some batteries and start tuning. Very nice.